All right, ladies and gentlemen, hyperinflation is coming to the United States of America. Please like and share this video. Those are not my words. Those are the words of one of the most powerful people on this planet, Jack Dorsey, the founder and billionaire, creator of Twitter. In fact, he's selling Twitter now to Elon Musk if and when that deal goes through, and I think it will. And he warned just last year, I want to reread this to you because I believe this is happening now, that hyperinflation, I'm paraphrasing a bit, will happen very, very soon in the United States of America. And what that means by the broad-based definition of hyperinflation is that we're going to have 50+% month over month gains. But really what that means is losses of the paper value of the US fiat dollar currency. Now, of course, we've seen the worst inflation prints. I would argue we're already seeing this hyperinflationary prints as a result of all the policies that we've experienced in the last couple of years. We just got a horrible number. Wall Street crashed down like 800 points on Friday. It's worst inflation report we've seen in 40, 50 years. Oil, fuel, gas up over 100%. We're seeing this across all asset classes. Housing, although we're starting to see some cooling in some parts of the country. But I believe this is going to continue without abatement. So let's go to this article again. This is CNBC.com. These are the exact words of one of the most powerful people in the world, a billionaire, Jack Dorsey, who's also calling for universal basic income and UBI for Americans, has this to say about the coming hyperinflationary event in what once was arguably the most powerful country in the world, but appears to be turning into the Weimar Republic or Zimbabwe, or what we've seen in Argentina in the past historically when their nation state failed. He says this, the Twitter and Square CEO, Jack Dorsey, says hyperinflation will happen soon in the US and the world. So he says this is going to happen not just in the United States, but the world. And this was a tweet that he put out how long ago? I think it was just about a year or so ago. Now, this came out when the consumer price inflation was running near a 30-year high in the U.S. It's gotten far worse since then. Now, keep this in mind. When we had the stagflationary event of the 1970s, I believe interest rates, like the Fed funds rate, was at like, if I remember correctly, I took a screenshot of this, 20%. Yeah, that's correct. So when I was born in 1981, the interest rates in the United States were 20%. We're not even above 1 in the United States, entering the hyperinflationary, what they're calling a stagflationary collapse. The federal debt, when I was born in 1981, was only $980 billion. It is 30 trillion today. And couple that where there was actual foreign demand for US treasuries. And we were on the upswing of other countries like China and others buying US debt to support the Ponzi scheme. Well, that's all ended. In fact, the exact opposite is occurring now. We are in an upside down pyramid, which is why many believe Social Security is already defunct and default. That's why they're going to move to UBI, social welfare programs like, for example, other programs like welfare just mentioned, Medicare, etc., also insolvent. This is why Biden, many would argue, Biden is also expunging in a debt jubilee, just getting rid of like $10,000+ or more of student loan debt because it wasn't worth anything that the paper that it was printed on in the first place because it wasn't backed by anything, guys. And this is what you need to understand. So if we contrast this to 1981, decades ago, when the federal debt was only $980 billion, that's 30 trillion today, there was actual foreign demand for US treasuries and interest rates were at 20%. Even if the United States and the Federal Reserve raised to 10, which they're not going to do, you still could not stop this upcoming storm. Now, they're calling it a recession, but of course, they would never tell you what's going to happen next. I would argue it's going to be far, far worse, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly not a recession, but an absolute depression. In addition to that, famine, food supply shock. Zelensky is warning. He just put out a warning today that they're losing more troops, they're losing more ground. It appears now that Russia is winning. He says there's going to be famines worldwide. General, I think it is, Lloyd Austin is warning of total global economic, financial, but geopolitical chaos. And think about this from China's perspective, what they could do. Think about this in terms of game theory. When China takes Taiwan, which they're going to do, if the United States responds to that, hyperinflation will hit instantly. instantly. They won't be able to control it. We'll go from like $130 a barrel of oil to 300 barrels of oil. We'll go from, what is natural gas at? I can't remember off the top of my head, 8, 10, I don't know, something like that. It'll go to $30. So from a game theory perspective, the U.S. only has two options. One is respond to China's encroachment, in the Pacific, and then cause instant hyperinflation in the United States, or two, do nothing and let China win the war of the 21st century and dominate the entire world geopolitically, along with the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and is what we're seeing play out with the proxy war currently in Ukraine. So here's the point. My point is to not just bring you doom and gloom, but to notate, number one, I'm not the person saying this. General Lloyd Austin, Jack Dorsey, billionaire, spends his free time sipping champagne on a yacht along with Jay-Z, and then calls for universal basic income. Go check his Twitter account. That's what he wants to do next. Calling for 50+% based on the actual definition of what hyperinflation is, 50+% monthly losses in paper wealth. As we move to CBDC, central bank digital currencies, as they're talking about a continuing of government as a result of these disruptions and how they're going to handle politics here in the United States, and everyone warning in the mainstream media telling you there's an absolute recession. So here's what I want you to do. Profit from what you know is coming. Profit from the upcoming depression, not a recession. Get in now, okay? Learn how to pivot, leverage, and profit like these same people are doing, like the billionaires are doing, buying all the real assets, buying all the real estate, buying all the crypto, buying all the Bitcoin. And I'm telling you, the time is now. I remember when I attended a conference, it was a crypto conference in the last major bear market where we had come off like 80, 85%. And I met tons of people like Charlie Shrem, many of you probably know him, Brock Pierce, many of you know him. I just gotten off the circuit. I was even speaking with people like Steve Forbes in the traditional financial space. A really great interview. By the way, he's a fantastic human being. Spoken to people like Jim Rogers, et cetera, who lives out in Singapore, and gave me a really interesting perspective of the Asian Pacific. They all told me, Charlie Shrem in particular, and Brock, said, Christopher, build now. Build in this bear market. Build in the trough, okay? Build in the recession. And I'm paraphrasing, but they basically said, if you do that, you're going to get rich. And you know what? They were right. In fact, that's where most of my gains came from in the crypto Bitcoin space. It was that last major 85%, rundown. Now, we're currently in a similar market right now. Bitcoin, under 30K. The altcoin market, getting smashed. Okay, Ethereum down, under 2,000. XRP, an incredible value. And so many other potential blockchains we review at school with our asset allocation, our complete blueprint for your success to take advantage and profit and scale in 1,000 freaking X. In this environment, I believe that if you take the exact same advice that was given to me that I'm currently giving to you today, I'm not guaranteeing it, but I'm saying you could very likely not only just kill it, destroy it, okay? But this will be your moment to make the 1,000x gains, to create the income and cash flows. I mean, brothers and sisters out there, it's not just about money, okay? But I want you to even think about this from a kingdom-minded perspective and focus. You brothers and sisters, you believers out there. We don't need money, to do good things in this world, right? We don't need money to go spread the gospel or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But imagine what you could do if I could help you scale your income from $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Imagine what you could do if you're making $1,000 a month and we scale it to 5. Or you're going from 10 to 100,000, or you're going 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures, 10 figures. Imagine what you could do for the kingdom. Imagine how you could support your churches and community. Imagine how you could fight back. Imagine how you could do such good things in an economic, financial, spiritual storm that's on the way, what they're calling a recession. And what I'm calling is an economic, financial collapse, hyperinflationary depression, which is what Jack Dorsey is warning about. Elon Musk, why he's firing 10% of his staff, and they're cleaning up house before the worst comes. I'm telling you, if you act now, you take advantage of this opportunity in the eye of what people are calling the perfect storm, something that I dubbed. You could profit in ways you could never, ever imagine. We saw this in the 1930s during the Great Depression. We saw this in 2008-09. We saw that in the last few years in 2020. Look how real estate has tripled in some areas of the country. And I'm telling you, After they wash out retail, this will repeat again because we are entering a hyperinflationary decoupling where I believe these assets, crypto and blockchain, are going to decouple 1,000, maybe 10,000 plus X the other direction. This is where the money is to be made. You need to position now to profit from this upcoming recessionary storm, to get in and build your portfolio and blueprint that we have prepared for you at school@bitcoinrich.com. There has never in the history of civilization been a better opportunity than today to take action and invest in yourself, which I've always said is the best investment you could possibly make. So soldiers out there, my brothers and my sisters, and all of you tuning in, I encourage you, don't just be in the fear loop. Yes, it's going to get bad. Yes, we are in an economic, financial, we could argue apocalypse right now. End times, economic collapse, hyperinflation is what they're saying. Don't sit on your hands. What I'm telling you is to take aggressive action and do it with us today. 1,000x your mind, your body, your soul, your spirit, your money game, your cash flows, your businesses, your community, and your churches. Do it with us. Help us build Island Project, the spiritual, economic, financial ark to weather this storm. Like Noah, listening to God. This resonated with you, click the link below. Just go to bitcoinrich.com. There's a free webinar. You can see it there. There's about an hour-long video. It'll speak to you guys. Watch it in full, absolutely free. Just click the link below and then get in. Take advantage of the 1000X Life promo code. Start building the portfolio. And I'm telling you, the same advice that was given to me, I'm giving to you now. This is your 1000X moment. I'm Christopher Greene. I love you guys. God bless. I want to see you at school. Get in before that promo code goes away and watch the video. It's free. And then subscribe. Join tens of thousands of other students around the world at the #1 blockchain academy and educational platform worldwide. I love you guys. 1000X. Put in the work. Stay positive. And as always, Jesus Christ is King. I love you. I'll see you at school. Get in. We're going to have more videos come out this weekend.
Where is this going? Like, I read that you called it is it a multi-quadrillion market potentially, the first quadrillion market in the world?
I said quadrillion market, yes. It's a term you don't hear used almost ever. Never. Other than in the context of counting. You know, if your curious mind wants to know what happens after trillion. But as we start to see the beginning of the securitization of all the world's assets, so I mean, you're talking about all of the world's equities, all the world's debt, all the world's real estate, all the world's energy, as you start to see all of these things to all the world's currencies, as you see all of that's tokenized, you are talking about a quadrillion dollar market. And I can say that with a straight face, like I can say that, and that's a defensible statement.